Okay, I was supposed to sleep last night, but instead I found out China is building AI-guided nukes, drone swarms that can multiply in the thousands at a press of a button, and warships built faster than smartphones. All I keep thinking is, when did this happen? And the craziest part? This isn't science fiction, it's from official Pentagon reports. China isn't just preparing for future wars, they're rehearsing them in real time, with a budget that makes the Death Star look underfunded. So in this video, I'm breaking down exactly how China is turning future warfare into present day reality, and what that means for me, and you too, because we are in this together. Right off the bat, China is spending a lot on its military. They decided $330 billion wasn't enough in 2023, so they boosted it up to $450 billion in 2024. Who knows what 2025's budget is? The only country that spends more than that is the US, but even then, China's spending is much more optimized. See, everything is going very smoothly in all aspects of production, research, and final products. China's leadership has laid out a long-term roadmap, and damn if they aren't sticking to it. Year after year, we're seeing measurable milestones. More ships built, new weapons tested, military doctrine refined, and corrupt officials swept out with ruthless efficiency. There's no political flip-flopping, no endless debates, just pure, methodical execution. We're watching a powerful military machine rev up and gain momentum with terrifying consistency. If there's a master plan to become the world's dominant military power by 2049, it's already well underway, and so far, it's looking like they're ahead of schedule. What about the big guns? Nukes. China's got over 600 operational warheads right now. Last year it was 500. That's a 20% increase in a year. And they're not stopping there. The goal is over 1,000 by 2030. These aren't just dusty warheads from the 70s either. We're talking new tech, new platforms, submarines, aircraft, silos, and, I kid you not, rail-mounted launchers. Yes, your worst-case scenario now includes nuclear missiles riding the rails like it's some apocalyptic Hogwarts Express. And China's not building these things just to look cool. They've got strategy baked into every move. Their nuclear doctrine is shifting. They're working on something called launch on warning. That means if they detect a missile coming their way, or even think they do, they'll launch a counterstrike immediately. But here's the really intense part. This system is designed to sense an incoming missile and fire back before that first missile even lands. The goal is to ensure that if someone tries to nuke China, their response nukes are already in the air, racing to strike the attacker before the first bomb hits Chinese soil. It's preemptive retaliation, kind of like punching someone in the face because you saw them winding up. Except, with mushroom clouds, it gets wilder. They're also developing fractional orbital bombardment systems. Fancy name, terrifying concept. Basically, they fire a missile into low Earth orbit, swing it around the planet, and drop it back down on a target from any direction. That's a huge deal, because it bypasses traditional missile defenses. We're talking surprise attacks from space. Remember when we saw this stuff threatened only in cartoons? Yeah, that's real now. You can start to see why I was up late. But that's just the nukes. Let's move to the Navy, and buckle up, because China's Navy is now the largest in the world by numbers, over 370 ships and submarines, and by 2030 they're aiming for 435. Meanwhile, the US Navy's been struggling to maintain, or even grow its fleet. China's shipyards are running like factories, efficient, high volume, and fast. What kind of ships, you ask? All kinds. Aircraft carriers, destroyers, frigates, amphibious assault ships, submarines, not just for defence, but for full-blown power projection. China wants the ability to move its navy far beyond its own shores. That's where their focus on the first island chain comes in. It's a geographical line that includes Japan, Taiwan, the Philippines, basically a bunch of countries that could act as natural barriers. China wants control over those routes, but they're not stopping there. Now they're eyeing the second island chain, further out into the Pacific, even closer to the US West Coast, and beyond that, global. China is actively looking into building overseas military facilities in places like Sri Lanka, Pakistan, the UAE, Kenya, Equatorial Guinea, and Cuba. That's right, Cuba. Just 90 miles from the USA, a little too close for comfort. And while the US is worried about long-distance logistics and resupply, China is rehearsing real-world scenarios. Their soldiers are training under simulated combat conditions. Realistic, stressful, chaotic. It's not basic training, it's immersive wargaming. Same with their weapon systems. They're testing hardware under extreme conditions to make sure everything works when it counts. It's like stress testing your computer, but instead of Chrome tabs, it's missile systems and hypersonic weapons. The US does conduct combat simulations, but not on the same aggressive, across-the-board scale that China is pushing. China is making these drills a core part of their force development, simulating everything from amphibious assaults to multi-domain operations involving cyber and space. Their soldiers are being shaped into battle-ready operators from day one. Meanwhile, American training often focuses more on small unit cohesion and joint operations, which is effective, but lacks the full scope, constant national push that China is integrating into its military culture. The level of intensity and realism China is committing to shows a nation preparing, not just to defend, but to dominate in future wars. So where does it stop? Well, not anytime soon. Now, China leads the world in hypersonic missile tech. These things fly at Mach 5 or faster. That's over a mile per second. Too fast for most current defense systems to intercept. And they're not just fast, they're maneuverable. Meaning, even if you know it's coming, you still can't stop it. These are the nightmare weapons of the future. And China already has them. But the real future of warfare isn't with technology. It's making sure everyone is actively pursuing the same goal. That's where military civil fusion, or MCF, comes in. China is systematically erasing the lines between civilian innovation and military application. Got a company that builds drones to film weddings? Awesome. Now that drone tech is being studied by the People's Liberation Army, or PLA, for battlefield use. Artificial intelligence? Now it's being used for military warfare. 5G, add it to the information conclave. Quantum computing, 100% added. Even stuff like semiconductors and big data analytics, anything that can give the military a technological edge is fair game. China wants to turn its entire economy into a defense ecosystem. Universities, startups, tech firms, logistics companies, all of them are potential players in this massive game. Some of that innovation is homegrown, but a lot of it really isn't. How is it acquired then? Let's say it's been acquired. Intellectual property theft is a known issue. The US and its allies have reported multiple incidents of Chinese actors targeting sensitive defense technologies through cyber espionage, corporate infiltration, and even academic collaboration. You think your LinkedIn messages are annoying? China isn't just building bigger weapons, they're building smarter ones. Enter intelligent warfare. This is the new doctrine that emphasizes AI, data, integration, and autonomous systems. The idea is that future wars won't be fought just with bullets and bombs. They'll be fought with algorithms, real-time decision-making, automated threat analysis, AI-powered targeting systems, drones that think for themselves. In fact, China revealed something in 2025 that blew everyone's mind. Self-splitting swarm drones. One drone flies in and then splits mid-air into multiple mini-drones, each capable of its own mission. Surveillance, jamming, even attack. That's like one pigeon turning into 6 wasps mid-flight. Oh god, I just pictured it. And they're serious about space too. In December 2023, they launched the Yaogan 41 satellite. This thing can track objects as small as a car from orbit. Not just track, identify. We're not talking Google Earth here. We're talking militarized eyes in the sky with real-time targeting potential. The satellite network being built isn't just for weather reports, it's for global situational awareness. Oh, and don't forget about civilian maritime support. China has a massive civilian shipping and fishing fleet, many of which are essentially state-sponsored. These vessels often work alongside the Navy, providing logistics support or even acting as informal militias at sea. That's right, their fishing boats might be military auxiliaries in disguise. And then there's cyber. China has one of the most aggressive and capable cyber warfare programs in the world. Espionage, disruption, disinformation, all of it. In 2024, they created the Information Support Force to oversee digital operations. It's a whole new military branch, focused entirely on cyber capabilities, satellite comms, and data-centric warfare. Imagine being able to shut down an entire city's power grid, bank networks, and traffic systems, all without firing a single shot. That's the goal. Psychological and digital dominance, before the first tank even rolls in. But here's the twist. For all this growth, the Pentagon says China still has some weak spots. They haven't demonstrated large-scale urban warfare capability. They've never managed the complex logistics needed for extended overseas combat. And there are still questions about how well their forces would operate in real-world, long-duration conflicts. So yes, China's military might be turbocharging itself into the future, but it's not quite invincible yet. But here's what's really unsettling. The more they expand, the harder they become to deter. And deterrence is what global peace often relies on. When a country becomes too powerful to intimidate, it starts gaining influence in more subtle, psychological ways. Their mere presence becomes a bargaining chip. Allies start to hedge. Neutral nations start to lean. Suddenly, global decisions aren't just about diplomacy, they're about who you don't want to piss off. China's growing military might is giving them a kind of silent creeping leverage that doesn't fire a single shot but shifts the balance of global power all the same. Still, you can't ignore the pace. 3 years in a row, their defence budget has grown by over 7%. They've reorganised command structures, overhauled training, and even purged corrupt officers who might slow down the mission. It's like hitting optimize all in your favourite RPG, except the game is global hegemony. Did I really write that? Look, I'm tired. You gotta give me one of these. So, yeah, China's military future, it's not just on the horizon. It's barreling toward us like a hypersonic missile riding a satellite-guided drone swarm. Now excuse me while I go build a bunker, or at least delete my drone footage from vacation. If you found this wild, like, what in the world did I just listen to? Hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which part freaked you out the most, or impressed you the most. Because let's be honest, it's kind of both.